if YouTube will respond. Jesus Christ, come on. Okay, I think it's live now. There we go. All right, 3, 2. What's up, guys? Welcome into episode number 14 of the Checkerboard Check-In. Almost a full house tonight. After we thought Sawyer got blown away last week, we were kind of concerned there for a little bit. me and Murph had to bring up the end of the show there, but it was all good. Glad Sawyer's safe. Glad everybody's safe around here, because that was, I know my the creek down in Lynchburg flooded over the other night, so a lot of parking lots, cars got damaged, stuff like that, but nobody was hurt, so we're all good. We got Sawyer, like I just mentioned. We got Murphy. We got Ken. What's going on, guys?
It's all good, man.
Well, we'll start off with we got basketball, obviously. We got football, baseball news, but hopefully you're joining us right after watching episode 3 of the Bat Flip. Had a good time with Landon on there. I think we'll start with football. We've got, how many spring practices have we had now? Has it been 3 or 4?
Yeah,
3
around there. Yeah, as always, we're seeing the electric inside access of practice highlights that every college football coach loves to put out. More than usual. I will add that, though. I don't know if y'all have noticed it or not, but before, seems like the only videos we ever saw were guys high knees over pads, and that was about it. So, and after our record the last couple of years, I want to pose this question to y'all. Do you think that was the most intense drills we were doing, was high knees over pads? Thoughts?
It's nice to have a coaching staff that knows how to use social media.
Yeah, at the very bare minimum, just how to do a little bit on there. But we'll start with football. I mean, like I said, it's like we talked about before. It's April 1st today. Happy April Fool's Day, boys. But I mean, you see all this content getting put out, and we're going to get into more of it. Some of the content we love. We'll talk about that. But I mean, you're seeing kind of the same standard stuff, a little bit more now, a little more access. But it's the time of year where you see, like, I'm sure y'all probably saw it, the video of Jimmy Callaway burning past one of our DBs the other day, and easy touchdown. Now, you see that kind of stuff, and you kind of wonder, well, good for the offense, but who is that defensive back that just got embarrassed out there? So it didn't look like anybody that I couldn't see the name on the jersey, but didn't look like one of our starters. Hopefully. But I mean, you're seeing some clips about that, stuff like that. So there's excitement. I mean, for Tennessee football, that normally ends badly, as we were talking about before we came live. But I mean, I don't know what's been. I guess I'll pose, and we'll talk about the Juice, the new series they're doing. They're starting with Coach Heupel through all spring practice. So besides that, what's been the best thing you've seen so far? I guess I'll pose it that way. Whether it's a clip, a quote from somebody. Murphy? I'll start with you. What's the best thing you've seen so far?
I think personally for me, it's the access that they're allowing media members to come in and be able to watch practice and be able to see. I mean, obviously they're not seeing a ton of stuff, but it's at least you're at least opening the doors to people to be able to come in and kind of see what's going on and, be able to talk to the players. They're putting players out for media availability. They're letting assistant coaches talk to the media and answer questions. I mean, I think we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago when they introduced the defensive staff, but it's crazy actually getting to hear voices of assistant coaches. I feel like I don't even know what most of the guys on the previous staff even sounded like because never heard them. So I think for me, that's a huge thing that and I'm assuming it's Heupel's decision. It could be a combination of him and Danny White coming together for that. But I think just opening the program up to the outside and allowing people to come in and see what's going on and ask questions and get some information. Because I mean, from the last 3 or 4 years, we most of all that stuff was all speculation. Like, well, it looks like they're doing this, and we can assume that they're going to be working on this, but we don't really know because we haven't really seen or been able to ask any questions, and nobody's answering anything in a straightforward way. So I just think the availability that they're allowing people in and sort of, I guess giving a behind the scenes look to things is what stood out for me so far.
Sawyer, what you got?
I saw a clip of Heupel, talking to Hooker about on his RPO stuff about his hip movement or something like that. And I think it was Zach Reagan. If I said that name wrong, please correct me, or if I just got the person wrong totally. But he was actually coaching the quarterback. Like, I don't feel like our quarterbacks actually got coached in the last, however many years Winky was there. So
Thank you, Winky. Yeah.
I mean, that's just nice to see. I mean, that for me, just a little tidbit like that. But I mentioned it before we started. I mean, it just looks like the vibe is totally different in Knoxville. I mean, they're having fun. They're cutting loose. When they introduced the new staff, was it Halsley or Golish that said, we're going to let guys rip it? No,
Halsley. But
and
it may have been both, actually.
And to me, that was I was like you when that came out detail. That got me fired up, and just seeing like what they've been putting out and stuff, it makes me just keep believing it. So, yeah, that's what I've liked the most so far.
Keenan, what you got?
I don't think it's as barren as people would like to think you make it think on defense. I think we got some players there, especially on the defensive line. You don't have anybody that's gonna especially stand out, I would say, but you got some people that Rodney Garner can definitely work with. Greg Emerson, Aubrey Solomon, Daryl Middleton, Matthew Butler. You have all the tools there, and I think it's definitely the most talent that a Josh Heupel defense has ever had, and I think it's something that you can definitely work with. And everybody wants to make it seem like we're completely starting over, and the losses of Crouch and To'oTo'o are huge, but there's still definitely something there to work with. And then on the offensive side, you got receivers out the wing. Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely an embarrassment compared to what he's had before at receiver, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he can do with our weapons. Maybe a Harrison Bailey isn't the best fit for this offense, but I agree with Sawyer. Hendon Hooker is definitely got the tools to absolutely establish himself in this offense. And I think combining that with Jalen Hyatt, a Velus Jones Jr. is absolutely a deadly combination when you consider what Heupel's offense have done in the past. So I think basically everything's there on offense, and it's not as bare a cupboard as you would like to think on defense. So 8-4, right?
Definitely. I can't debate that. If you want to be real, nobody can until that first game of the year. We're
Exactly.
not. You can't tell me
also,
I'm wrong.
Also, I'd like to say this is probably the easiest schedule we've had in 10 years, if you look at it. Pittsburgh plus Georgia at home. I think this is a very manageable schedule for a first-year head coach, unlike most of our other first-year head coaches.
It's definitely not one of the worst ones we've seen in the last several years. But yeah, I mean, the next point I had was kind of I just mentioned it, the Juice, the series that's come out. It's kind of an inside access look, in-depth look at spring practice so far. As much in-depth, like I said, as you can get for a type of program like this. But it's like we said earlier, it's more than we've ever seen before. I mean, it's when before have we seen guys kind of getting their own, and that was another point I had. I think you'll start to see more of this stuff at some programs. I don't know that you'll ever see anything like this at Alabama as long as Nick Saban's there. But I think you'll start to see a lot more of this as what's been going on legally with the NCAA lawsuits and all the players' likeness, their ability to profit off their own brand, stuff like that. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that you're seeing a lot of stuff start popping up like this, that you see the Tay talks that Alontae Taylor's been doing. I don't think it's a coincidence, but I do think it's kind of the changing of the guard. You've got a guy in here now that actually seems like he might understand that social media is kind of important nowadays with the amount of time that recruits are spending online, whether you like it or not. It's the truth. I mean, it's what's going on. So if that's what's going on, why not take advantage of it? But if you haven't seen the juice yet, it's kind of, I think it was 7 or 8 minutes long. This episode was, wish it was 7 or 8 hours, because we all know we'd sit there and watch it. Don't act like you wouldn't. But I mean, it's a good way to not only kind of see, not really the coaching, I don't guess, but how personalities are interacting with each other. Like Sawyer mentioned, you're seeing Heupel actually. I mean, it's kind of a thing. I mean, you don't want to get too overextended. It's kind of something everyone knows there if you're doing an RPO like that. So it's not any inside information, but it's good to see guys actually getting coached up. Like, we have visual proof now. We have proof that they're getting coached, and Chris Weinke isn't just off somewhere with a fat dip in his lip somewhere, just who knows what. So it's good to see that it's actually happening now. But I mean, I like it. It's my main takeaway from it. It's like what we said earlier, what we said maybe before I came on. I don't think it hurts the program in any way doing stuff like this. I think it can only help. Anything from that stuck out to y'all? Anything you saw in there? I know Sawyer had that point.
I saw where they brought in the ice cream truck. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Jeremy Pruitt could never.
They'd be having
he's just thinking of different ways to get the players engaged, and it's refreshing. It's very refreshing to see how he's handling his roster and how he's handling his players. You know, the ice cream truck is cool. Everything is cool. But I feel like this staff actually gets it as far as player relations goes. They know how to relate to their players. They know how to get the most out of their players. And especially on offense, we're going to put up some points. You know, whether the defense can hold up or not, that's a different question. But this team is going to put up some points. And I feel like this is a team that the players love playing for this staff. I really do. That's all we've heard so far in the preseason is how much these players love playing for the staff. So that's my biggest takeaway is how relatable the staff is to the players.
I know one thing. Jeremy Pruitt gets an ice cream truck headed onto the practice field when Jim Chaney's out there, and he's going to have quite an issue on his hands there.
He's going to have a big bill on his hands.
Yeah, we talk about buyout money, stuff like that. That's gone on one ice cream trip.
They can just pay Chaney an ice cream. He doesn't even need money.
Yeah. Chaney's idea of food from different countries. What's the word I'm trying to look for? God, who knows? There goes my brain. But anyway, his idea of a different cultural meals is a Choco Taco. There's no way he enjoys anything besides that for his post feast. I don't know. It cracked me up. The first thing, that's how my brain works, and that's how Tennessee's conditioned my brain to work. I saw that first tweet about the ice cream truck coming in. Everybody's like kind of what Keenan just said, like, yeah, you know, it's good for the players. You know, it helps build trust. Seems like he's a player first guy. And my first thought is, dear God, where's Jim Chaney at? Has he moved away? That's my first thought on it. So
He's eating all the gumbo in New Orleans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, with the Saints now. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Dear God. God help New Orleans. Yeah, I mean, that was all I had on that. I mean, it's refreshing to see. I'll put it that way. It's something you haven't seen before. I don't recall ever really seeing something like this. I mean, Pruitt, there was nothing like that. I would say the most stuff like this would be Butch Jones. Now he cut out all the. Say what you want about Butch Jones, and maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but he had the stupid catchphrases. I mean, there was enough there to fill a dictionary, but there was those. There were the allegations of player abuse, all this stuff. Say what you want. It seemed like in recruiting, especially now when they get on campus, they probably realized, hey, this guy's a doofus, and why did I do this? But I think of like the Jonathan Kongbo picture when he was recruited. You had Butch, what's his name, Bob Shoop, and whoever the defensive line, Stripling. You had all them pose for the picture with ice cream on his recruiting trip, something like that. I mean, I think that's the closest thing you've ever seen to a relationship where it's not, I'm your coach, you're the player, let's go. I mean, and we obviously know that didn't turn out well. So I'm not saying that was a success, but I've just never, maybe I'm forgetting something, but I don't ever, since I've been a Tennessee fan, I don't know that Tennessee has ever gotten into this new movement we're going through. It's about time they did, because when you're building a program, especially right now with who knows what's about to come down in recruiting violations, stuff like that, you need all the players you can get. You need to build depth, whether that's from transfers, walk-ons, any recruit that you can get, which we don't have any for the next class right now. But any way you can add players and get them excited, I mean, I'm all for it. So that's all I had on that. We can kind of get into what we've seen of more of the team, what we've kind of expected. I mean, you've got Brian Maurer. I know I saw a tweet last night. Y'all probably saw it too. Is there a world where Brian Maurer wins this quarterback battle? I've said it jokingly before, but now it wasn't Zach Reagan. It was Power T-Tape, that guy, Austin Burledge, that guy. He came out and said, he's like, it wouldn't surprise me if Maurer won it. And, you say it jokingly, but all the signs are kind of there. He's kind of got what Maurer's looking for. We know Maurer wanted him before. I still don't think it happens. I think it's like I think me and Murphy, it may have been right after Sawyer got off, that I think it's Hendon Hooker's probably right now.
That's what I think too. When you look at a Heupel offense, it kind of spells a Hendon Hooker type of quarterback. And for that reason, also a Maurer type of quarterback. Brian Maurer, he's got the wheels to run that type of offense, but I seriously doubt they bring in someone like a Hendon Hooker unless they have some plans, for him. And that was absolutely, I missed last week, but that's absolutely who I think is leading the offense right now. And I hate it that you might lose a quarterback like a Harrison Bailey, but you bring in a new coaching staff, they're gonna want to run their philosophy. So I think it's Hendon Hooker's job to lose at this point.
I wonder. I mean, what's the reaction like if Brian Maurer does win this job? What's the reaction on Twitter, social media if it comes out? Because I mean, I'll get y'all's take. When do you think a starting quarterback's name? Because I don't think the starting quarterback until, I hope it's not game week, right? I hope it's not a situation where you take the field and it's okay who runs out there first. I hope not. Just me personally, I would rather the guys know. I'd rather my team know who's going to be out there a week in advance. And, if that helps the other team game plan, fine. I mean, that's cool. But the instability, the kind of the linemen running out there wondering, okay, who's coming with the call in. I don't like that, just me personally. But when do you guys think? When do you guys think we have a starter named? I'll put it that way before we get into the breakdown more.
Well, I think that you might, you're not going to know who the starter is, but you might have an idea by the end of spring practice, spring game that type of thing. They'll run a starter out there in the spring game, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the starter in the opening day. But I think by the end of spring practice, you'll know what type of quarterback this offense wants to run, and I think we'll be able to draw our own conclusions by then, if it's me at least.
Murph, what you got? Or Sawyer, either one.
Go ahead, Murph.
I'm kind of leaning towards what you were saying, D. Taylor, about letting your team know at least a week or so before the game, because I like having them know just for that comfort level, knowing who's going to be out there. I feel like you can prepare a little bit better for that. As far as Brian Maurer goes, I did want to touch on that for a quick second. I think I've mentioned it before on the show in the past, and it's nothing against Maurer. I like his attitude. I like his, I guess we'll call it energy that he brings and his skill set that he has. I personally just don't think he has the talent to be an SEC quarterback. Now that could change with an actual coach that's going to coach him up and
Right.
help him come along, as opposed to what he had in the past. So I could be eating my words here in a little bit. That's, still up for debate. But just from what we've seen out of him, and there have been flashes, but I have a hard time thinking he's got the talent level to beat out the other two guys that I would put ahead of him on the depth chart. But as far as when a quarterback would be announced, I would at least hope you have a guy figured out a week or so out from the game, even sooner than that, just so that you kind of know who you should be game planning for if you're Heupel and the rest of the offense.
I feel like they'll have a guy, in mind, but they might not let, everybody else know till about a week or so out.
I mean, I think you brought up a good point there, Murph, that I kind of want to bounce off. You don't really know what any of these guys' ceilings are. I mean, it's kind of, maybe he could be. I'm kind of in the same camp as you. I kind of see those tweets about it. I just bring it up because it's interesting. I think, like, what would happen? Like, what would the offense look like ran by him? And in no way am I making fun of Maurer or like don't want him to win. I've said it before. I don't care if it's a walk-on that's the best quarterback on the roster. If he's the best one, he should be playing. If he gives us the best chance of win, he should be playing. I'm kind of in the same camp as you on that, but it brings up a fair question. Like, we haven't seen any of these guys' ceilings yet before, and maybe under Josh Heupel, Hendon Hooker is a star. Maybe Maurer's a star. Maybe Harrison Bailey, he shows the promise that he does with his arm, and maybe Joey Halzle has him running sprints after practice, and he's going to come out and look like Cam Newton 2.0. I mean, you just now, no chance that happens, but you never know. That's the excitement of. I think I may have said it. God, what episode would that? That would have been probably 6 or 7 now when the whole Pruitt firing, everything like that went down. I could be completely off, but it's kind of the thing. Like, I said it before. I say it to anybody who'll listen. Like, if we're going to continue to suck, give me a coaching search every year. Because if you told me from the time I'm 22 now, from the time that I'm 30 for the next 8 years, it's just going to be the same garbage. Give me a coaching search every year. It's fun. I won't say I love the flight tracking and this candidate turned it down, this candidate's interested. I don't love it, but it's very interesting. It makes the off season go by quicker. I love the excitement that you get around a new coach. Now, I don't think any of us were really stoked that it was Josh Heupel when the news first broke. I know I certainly wasn't. Now, my opinions changed completely on him because he seems to be a good dude that the players like, that he brings something that, when you look at it with his system, he brings something that's kind of the way the game is going as a whole. So I'm excited for it. I love the excitement factor of not knowing. It's very scary, and historically in my entire career as a fan, it's burned me more than it's helped. So I don't like that aspect of it, but I love the unknown. Just yeah, maybe Brian Maurer turns out to be a Russell Wilson under. And I mean, you just never know. Now, 99.9%, I'm like you, Murph. I say no, but who knows? So, Sawyer, did you have anything on it?
Well, yeah, I mein, when the staff first got introduced and we kind of really started figuring out what UCF and their offense was all about under Heupel, we automatically thought it was a 3-horse race between Salter, Bailey, and Hooker, and probably rightfully so. But um, I think, yeah, Maurer, when they announced the hire, he talked about visiting UCF his senior year or whatever, and how he was close. Or I don't know if he said he was close to going there, but he said he really enjoyed that staff and he was already familiar with them and all this and that. So, I mean, granted, I'm one of the people who he has a snowball's chance and where of getting a starting job, but I mean, you never know. It's a new staff. They're looking for a fresh face. They don't know the guys. So Maurer could come out and look really good this spring and fall, whatever, and wind up being the quarterback day one. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. I think it's going to be Hooker or Bailey. Salter's definitely out of the question now with this suspension, in my opinion. Who knows? He may come and ball out when he gets back, but I mean, I want it to be Bailey just because all the hype that was around him, and I think he could be really special for us. But I think it's Hooker. And as far as when they'll announce it, I'm like you. I think it'll be like a week or so before the first game.
Hope so, at least. Yeah. I mean, if we're going off who we want it to be, I'd probably go Harrison Bailey or Salter. I mean, but like you said, I mean, it's what me and Murphy said last week. If it somehow still turns out being Kaidon Salter, then that he's either the next god to come in, or it's going to be another long year. So, I mean, if we're going off who we want, yeah, I would want Bailey or Salter, just because they're younger. You think they've got more time of being your guy then over a guy like Hooker, who's senior. Is he only have 1 year, or is it 2 years left? I think it's 2, isn't it?
Yes, 2, yeah.
2. Okay, so that's better than a 1 year fix, because it's like we've said before coming into this last year. I know COVID threw a wrench in everything with Harrison Bailey's development, but it was like you've only got 1 more year with Garantano, what we thought was going to be 1 more year before eligibility was thrown up in the air. I know we've talked about it before. Why not just go with Bailey in a weird year anyway and see what he's got, find out what he's got if he's the guy. So, but with Hooker having 2 years, I think we're right on that. Then yeah, I mean that makes you feel a little bit better about it. But you thinking in the future, you kind of want it to be a young dude that steps up and runs with it. But at this point, building this program where recruiting is going to be heavily based off what do you do this fall, it's like we've said before, I don't think you get many commits until the season starts. You may get a local guy or two, but until they see what this offense looks like, especially, I mean, defense, I think that'll be okay. But until you see evidence that this offense is going to work and it's going to be as explosive as it can be, I mean, you got to focus on winning now is what I'm saying. And if that's a redshirt senior, or if that's a walk-on freshman, I mean, you just get results out there, get explosive plays, get wins, if they're not wins, look competitive, get that out there however you have to, so you can get the guys that fit your program better.
Completely agree. And, it's a nice transition from a staff that was basically defensive minded to an offensive minded staff. They're going to probably get the most out of the personnel that they have on hand, especially the quarterbacks. So whoever starts, I don't think it's out of the question that we see more than one quarterback next year. especially with everybody we have on roster. So I think you just got to rely on the fact that you know this staff will get the most offensively out of whatever player they put on the field. So that's just how I feel about it.
Anything else on football? That's kind of all I was thinking of, really.
I think it's pretty cool. We actually have a quarterback competition now to talk
Yeah.
about. Like,
Yep.
just because I think even last year with Bailey as a freshman coming in, you know, some of us might have thought that there might have been some competition there, but I think for the most part, it was solidified that JG was going to start. And I know we could sit here for hours and discuss all that, but coming in, I mean, we've talked about it before. It's always good to have competition in that quarterback room because it makes everybody else around them better. But I like having the competition and not having that guy solidified, or I guess maybe I guess that's kind of up for debate. Would you rather have a guy that you know is going to be the starter and you may or may not trust him, or is it better to have this kind of competition where you've got 3 or 4 guys who could come in and you're just waiting for the guy to step up and take that role?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of what we were saying a minute ago. It's the unknown. It's exciting, but it's like you said, in most situations, at most programs, you want a guy every year that you're established with. But where Tennessee's at this point, I mean, run it. I mean, yeah, I mean, now we were talking about it before we came on the show. You'd like a quarterback to be playing quarterback. You don't want a punter in the mix there. How our linebacking corps is reportedly looking right now with our long snapper at linebacker. Not great. I'll put it that way. Now some of it is due to Jeremy Banks being out. Besides that, though, I mean, we talked about it last week. I don't think you get Henry T or Crouch back at this point. I think they'd be back if they were coming back. So, stay out of trouble, kids. Get Aaron Willis back on the field. Get Martavius French back on the field.
Mojo.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know. It's the unknown. That'll be the takeaway from this football segment. It's the unknown. It's a blessing and a curse at the same time. We'll move to basketball now. Main news. I know we talked about the exit last week or the week before. Kind of moving from an analysis breakdown, the season breakdown, into kind of moving ahead to off season. First off, we'll start with Springer. Jaden Springer declared for the NBA draft. Not really a surprise there, especially as the season went along. I mean, I think everybody that watched Tennessee could tell. And I feel like Keon don't know when he'll announce, but that's if Springer's gone.
Right behind him, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you expected that, so that's not really a big blow. Besides him, though, you've got Ticket, Devontae Gaines.
Pember.
In the transfer portal, you got Drew Pember, swag god. Hate to see him go, but by all indications, if you look at what everyone's saying, if you kind of see how the way this season ended, it looks like this roster is kind of going to be flipped anyway. So while I will miss the floppy-haired god out there firing up threes, if we could get somebody good to replace him that's going to see playing time, it's goodbye, sweet prince. But I mean, we've got those two gone. I don't think you'll see too many transfers after that, really. I mean, I especially in basketball. I mean, just with a smaller roster anyway. Kind of wanted to move into the targets that we've got out there. I know I've got the article pulled up right now. I remember seeing it posted a couple of days ago. It was Grant Ramey of 24/7.
The kid from East Carolina is big.
Yeah, it's names to know in the portal. Just guys Tennessee is contacted, which could be everybody in the country at this point. It seems like every transfer has talked to Tennessee at least, which is good. Glad Barnes is doing that. There's Parker Stewart from Indiana. I haven't heard that name as much, but anybody from Indiana's got to be looking at getting out of there right now, just with the way their coach got fired and their coaching search is kind of resembling a Tennessee football one from the guys that cover it up there. It's kind of getting crazy now. I don't buy that completely because I haven't seen any flight tracking on their end yet. I haven't heard any groomers. So till that's settled, say what you want to. I think they did hire Mike Woodson. Was that right at Indiana? Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they hired Mike Woodson.
So maybe some guys stay there, maybe they don't. But Parker Stewart's a name there. I haven't really heard of him that much. I know he played at UT Martin as well. After that, though, you start getting into more of the guys. Keenan just mentioned him, Jaden Garner from East Carolina.
18 points a game. We could use that.
18 and 8. 18 and 8 this last year. Says he's heard from Tennessee, Arkansas, Virginia Tech, Ole Miss. There's a whole list. Yeah. But a 6'7", kind of a combo guard wing that's putting up 18 and 8. Yeah, it's at East Carolina, but I'll take him. Sign him up right now. Probably about to butcher this name, so if I'm saying it incorrect or if you know better, you're better than me on this. But Qudus Wahab from Georgetown.
Yes,
is that correct?
That's a big one. That's a big one.
6'11", averaged 12 and 8 this year. He could average 0 and 0. I hear 6'11". I instantly want him on this team. So that's good. Nate Reavers from Wisconsin. That one, I don't know how realistic that is. He's from Wisconsin or from Michigan. No, Minnesota. Sorry, I'll get it in a minute. Trey Mitchell, Tyreek Key. There was one other one. Jalen Cone. Guard out of Virginia Tech. I remember his recruitment. I remember it pretty well a couple years ago. Only 5'10". He is a smaller guard, but he's kind of a more quick twitch player. Xavier Pinson was the one that really surprised me, though. Guard out of Missouri, arguably one of their better players this year. That's the Conzo Magic showing off there.
Oh, yeah.
Noah Locke from Florida. I mean, there's several names. Justin Powell at Auburn. Several names that you see there that definitely intrigue you if you're a Tennessee fan, whether it's for size, production. We mentioned Kessler out of North Carolina last week. Looks like he's probably definitely gone now after today's news that Roy Williams retiring at North Carolina. I thought it was an April Fool's joke at first. But I mean, how many? So we'll go 5 guys there. We'll go Noah Locke, Pinson, Jalen Cone. I'll throw the Georgetown guy in there, and I'll go Jaden Garner. How many out of those you think is realistic we get? Now, there's not much info out right now. I know they're talking to a lot of schools. Me personally, I think if you could get 2 or 3 of those guys, though, the big names that are in the transfer portal, that's a very good start to come in and pair with Kennedy Chandler next year, Jeremiah Mashack. Murphy, what you got on that?
Yeah, I was thinking right off the bat, 2 is probably what you would hope to get out of that group. If you could get 3 or more, that would obviously be even better. But I think 2 of those guys, out of those 2, personally, I think one of them has to be the guy. What was the Gardner? Was the guy from
Jaden Gardner?
Jaden Gardner from East Carolina. I agree. That absolutely has to be one of your players that you get. And he seems to have really, really strong interest in Tennessee as well. I think it's a mutual interest between Barnes and Gardner. And you know, that gives you a starting lineup, a respectable starting lineup of Kennedy Chandler. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Vescovi still has another year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was he, a sophomore this year?
Right. So Kennedy Chandler, Vescovi, Jemima Shack, Josiah Jordan James, and then you added Jalen Gardner, and that's a very formidable starting 5 as far as I'm concerned.
Who was your other guy, Murph?
Yeah, I think anybody out of those other 3 or those other 4 that can score the basket, score the basketball, that's got to be the key that they're looking for right now outside of size, is guys that can come in and score. because that was one thing that you didn't see this team do enough this season consistently. So whoever can score, bring them on in. I'll whether they play point, shooting guard, whatever for it. I mean, whether they're 5'3" or 7'5", bring them in. If they can score, I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Sorry, you got any?
100% agree.
Sorry, you got any out of those?
I don't know if any of those, like for me personally, I looked through the transfer portal list just now. A guy that I'd like to see him go after is the Powell kid from Auburn.
Yeah.
He was a pretty highly rated guy out of high school.
Or Walker Little from North Carolina as well.
Yeah, him. I forgot about him. Did you say Tyreek Key was the name that was listed in that article?
At Indiana State. Yeah, I think that was the one that was I think that's the right name.
He played at Clay County, a little 1A school here.
Okay, I thought that name sounded familiar. Okay.
He my senior year, we made it to the region semis, and one of the teams from our region, from our district, actually made it. Loretta made it to the state tournament, and then like the first round of the state tournament, they played Clay County, and Tyreek Key dropped like 45 on Loretta.
Yeah, averaged 37 points a game as a senior. Yeah. Okay. I knew that name. Yeah, I knew that name sounded familiar. I'm glad you. Now that I read it, it says Clay County High School from Salina, Tennessee. I'm glad you said that.
When you said
taking
that
Murphy's
name,
roles,
I know that name. But yeah, I see him. Just somebody
Can't argue with 37 a game.
No, but like I saw somebody tweeted, Tennessee has contacted pretty much anybody 6'8" and taller and can shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
So
if you're out there,
we need size. Give me that.
How tall did you say you were, Sawyer?
I was just about to ask.
6'5", shoeless. Once I get the shoes on, about 6'6". Deadly.
Yeah, how big a boy are you?
Deadly 3-point stroke. I mean, sign me up, Barnes. I've got a year of eligibility left. I'm a COVID senior.
I'll put that you I'll write you a recommendation that I've seen you lit Nick Hopkins up in high school. I'll put that on the list too. That's true, right?
For sure.
Yeah, the Nick Hopkins stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, I'm not dogging you. I believe you. I've seen Hopkins play. He's the truth, man. There's a reason. I mean, he went to Belmont in basketball. Belmont's pretty solid, so no, I'm not dogging you.
To be honest.
Did you get the dub?
We did. 94-91.
That's all that matters, man. That's all it matters.
Man, that's a game. That's a high school game right there.
Oh, yeah.
Go check. I'll plug you right now. It's a perfect segue. Go watch. Since I didn't get to with you on last week, go watch or go listen to Sawyer Talk Sports episode. How many you put out now?
I put out 4. I had to delete the first one because of some issues with my music, copyright issues. So I've done 4, but there's technically only 3 out. The latest one was with Latrell Bumpus.
Yeah. Go check it out if you hadn't. You said you grew up with Bumpus, right?
Yeah, his dad and my dad have known each other for God knows how long, and him playing in Hardin County and me in Wayne County, we played the All-Stars against each other. I think it was his freshman year, or like the summer leading into his freshman year, something. He was playing slow pitch softball over in Savannah, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? You're about to go play D1 football. And he's like, I'm still here having fun, man. I can't argue with you, brother. But yeah, man, I've known Latrell since we were probably 8 or 9 years old.
How excited is he about Rodney Gardner?
He's excited about it. I touched on that a little bit during the episode about kind of the differences in all the coaching staffs, and which he didn't not highlight anything big, but he said all of them have been about their business, and more importantly, they're more worried about what you are after football, the kind of man you are. So, and I feel like Gardner's that dude. I know in his presser, he said something about, coaching football is my ministry. So I think he's excited. He's really excited.
Good deal.
Go check out Sawyer Talk Sports. I haven't got to listen to the newest one yet. I was talking about, it's a shame you had to delete the first one because that was the Nick Hopkins story I heard in there. But that was It's a good story. I remember hearing about that game, honestly. So the world's
Small world.
yeah, it's not as big as you think it is when you get down to it. Yeah, that's all I had on basketball. I mean, it's kind of what Murphy said. If you can score, I don't care what you look like, what your height is. If you're 5'2", 400 pounds, if you're wet from three, go ahead, man. We'll get you a triple X. We'll put you in whatever you need to be in, my friend. But
Yeah.
Give me a month to get in shape, get my shooting stroke back. Because you didn't ask anybody from Wayne County High School. I was deadly. Had a little bit of.
I like it.
I was Brian Scalabrine.
I just want to touch on one more thing as far as basketball. Everybody's kind of down right now with Springer and then probably Johnson leaving right behind him. I don't view that as a bad thing at all. When you can put two freshmen in the lottery of the NBA draft, that's only going to be good for your basketball program. And we're not used to that at all. And I can understand why people are kind of, wary of it. But that's something that's, can help build your program and guarantees that you're going to keep getting talent like a Kennedy Chandler or a Jemima Shack or whoever you're getting in the future, because you're going to put them in the NBA. And that's what they want. That's exactly what they want. So I don't see it as a bad thing at all.
I don't think he realizes he's muted.
No, he's muted.
Good catch.
We
I was about to say,
let you go on.
you should. I wouldn't have. I was looking at. I've got a confession before we go to baseball. I was going to do it after we talked about baseball, but since you caught me there, I was looking at Twitter because I almost got caught. They almost got me. It was. I saw a tweet. If you remember Adrian Martinez, the Nebraska quarterback that was committed to us for a while, I saw a tweet from somebody that said something about him possibly transferring, and Tennessee was the lead place to get him right now. I looked at it, I was like, holy crap. So then I searched his name on Twitter and was just seeing what popped up the latest, and then I remembered what day it was. So so I almost came out and said it, like, hey, here's something to watch while we were live here. But I followed that trail, and it looks like it's quickly ended. Now, if it turns out being true, I'll go back and edit this, and I won't put the April Fool's part in, and you'll say that we were the first Tennessee outlet to report this. So that'll be our little inside secret there. Just wanted to confess, I was kind of out of it looking at that there. Anyway, we'll move to baseball now.
Into this main sport of the school right now.
Yeah, we're a baseball school. Tony V is leading us to the promised land. Got the sweep over LSU.
Our Lord and Savior.
Yeah, over LSU this last weekend. Got Bama coming up this week. We won't talk about it too much, but I know me and Murphy we were on there talking about it. It's good to see a sweep over any SEC team. Good to see a sweep anytime, but especially over an SEC team in your home opener. You've had all the comments that have come out today from Maneri, their coach, about how a little bit classless. I saw one of his quotes, something about they were bouncing around. No, it was somebody's comment on Twitter, an LSU fan that was hurt, said something about the team was bouncing around in the dugout. I was like, well, I'm sorry that they have energy and they use that energy.
Hey, don't let us score if you don't like it.
Yeah, I'm like, you're bouncing around in the dugout. Like, the title of our show is the bat flip. So obviously, where all of us stand on bat flipping. Now, I love it. I mean, if you don't, it's like he just said, if you don't want to bat flip, don't throw a cheese ball right down the middle of the plate. But anyway, that's part of the game. Now, you're mad that the team's bouncing around in the dugout. Like, this wasn't Maneri. This was a comment on Twitter I just read. But if that's your take, like, I don't understand that at all. I would think you'd want your guys on your team to be happy during the game, but who knows? Back to Maneri, though, he had all the garbage about classless and the fans down the first baseline, the legends, that they were in the player's head. I'm like, well, that sounds like a good fan base to me. So good to see excitement around the program. Good to see that other coaches don't like it, especially at a program that's got a good history of winning like LSU does. It's good. I think it was Murphy or Landon. Good to know that we're there and we're in their heads now. Like the baseball team's made it to the point where people know we're good and they expect us to be good and they know it's going to be a tough game. Now, I'm just ready for there to be full capacity so that the Legends have even more people around them. But yeah, just a lot of excitement. Anything that stood out to y'all? I mean, we kind of touched on it already, but anything you saw you liked?
Yeah, I noticed one of the players. I can't think of the exact player off the top of my head. Mentioned that when he got to Tennessee, if Tennessee was playing LSU, it would be like, wow, we're playing LSU, and now it's just, oh, okay, we're playing LSU, and it's just another series, and that's kind of the next step in the evolution of Tennessee baseball. That it's just another one of the big boys now. So, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I got to get up for a game. We got to get up for a game. I know Murphy's probably been there a couple times, but I have to get up from Memphis just to see this. And that's the most exciting part, is that it's bringing people into Tennessee baseball that have, never really just been that into Tennessee baseball. So it's exciting times right now.
Sorry, anything you had?
We broke LSU. Mentally, physically, we have broken the Baton Rouge faithful, and I love it. Evan Russell, 3 home runs. Come on, man. There's another guy playing 1A ball here in Tennessee from Scotts Hill. It's impressive, man. I don't care who you are. Drew Gilbert hitting the walk-off. The bat showed out this weekend for sure. What interested me, though, was I think it said that LSU out-hit us. I can't remember what the exact hit count was, but they out-hit us and we still swept them.
Yeah.
That's impressive to me.
I think it was, we mentioned it earlier, the Saturday walk-off that bled into Sunday. I think they out-hit us 17-10 in that one. That was either Saturday or the Sunday game. I can't remember which one, but yeah. Yeah, they out-hit us by a considerable margin in the series, I think. And yeah,
just win, baby, win.
I guess Paul Mainieri keeps his faith in hits, so he doesn't like runs. I don't know. Maybe, I guess according to his rules, hitting the ball too hard is a little bit disrespectful, so he's probably not a fan of Drew Gilbert for that reason, among many. So, I don't know. It's another example of old man yelling at the clouds that I don't know. No sport tries to kill themselves like baseball does with excitement. That's what we were talking before we came on. Murphy, I can't watch the Braves game because MLB and Dish, for some reason, I can't watch the Braves game on Dish Network. So on anything, try to get streaming services, try to get Fox Sports or Bally
Sports now, yeah.
Yeah, I can't get it on anything. So who knows? We need more excitement in baseball. It's my next shirt, make baseball fun again for everybody. So I think we could sell out of them. I think we've got enough. I'd give the boys, the legends of Lindsey Nelson, I'd give them their each one. They deserve a free one on the house for what they did to Trey Morgan's mental psyche over this last weekend.
Oh yeah.
You got Alabama coming up next. I think their official record's 15-9 on the year. I think I saw that when we were talking earlier. It's like we said, though, they're 1-5 in the SEC, but they started off with Arkansas and Ole Miss, 2 of the hottest teams in the country, 2 of the best programs in the country. So they're a good team. I think that's what I mentioned earlier. I think they snuck into the top 25 for like a week, maybe not even that long, at like 23. But they're a talented team. So you'd love to get another sweep, but you just hope you can get the series win. But it's not going to be easy. That's all I had on that. Go check out the bat flip. We've got even more on that. Anything else I'm missing? Anything big we didn't cover? I think that's it. Is this the first week that I remembered everything I was going to talk about? That's never That'll
Man,
never
you-
happen again. Murphy, I don't even need you. What are you doing here, man?
I mean, yeah, I'll just sign out now. I'll see y'all
Yeah.
next week. Bye.
Yeah, have a good one. Yeah. I don't know. I was on it today. Well, that's all I've got. I can't think of anything else. Guys, thanks for checking in with us. It's been episode.
I do have one more thing.
What you got?
I did remember something. We talked
Don't
about
ruin my
Springer.
streak here. Don't ruin the good mental space I was
No,
in.
no, it's nothing that you brought up before the show or anything, but we talked about Springer leaving. The Lady Vols had some action today too. Renee Davis, she's
Yeah.
gone. She's a projected top 5 pick in the WNBA draft, and rightfully so. And Destiny Salary entered the transfer portal. She was a girl. She played, but like I don't know, it's weird. She didn't play a whole lot, so
It's
maybe
not a huge loss.
yeah.
And Davis was probably pretty expected if she was top 5
Oh, yeah.
projected. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be a big void for the Lady Vols to fill because Davis was not only a leader on, but off the court. And I mean, she was a double-double pretty much every night. So be interesting to see what Harper can do to replace that.
Yeah. That's like the early returns on Kelly Harper so far. But yeah, that may be her first big test right there is
Yep.
replacing like you said, the engine to the team. Kind of makes the offense go. But yeah, that's all I had. Thanks for checking in with us, guys. That's been episode 14. And we'll see y'all next week.
All right, boys.
Bro.
I was literally about to leave and I saw him pop out and I was like, oh, wait, whoa, hang on, let me end.